Making major motion pictures and sitcoms. Here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome to Cue Questions, where each week we pull back the curtain on OnCue, one of the most powerful trial presentation platforms in the legal world. I'm Gene, your host, and joining me here every week is Rob, OnCue's Director of User Development and all-around OnCue guru, if you will. For those of you watching on YouTube, welcome. You can click the link in the description and you can join us right here in the studio and ask a question. If you have one, just activate your camera and we will bring you on stage and you can ask Rob your question directly. Otherwise, you can leave your question in the comments. We will be monitoring the comments and Rob will be answering those questions as well. Well, we do this every Wednesday live at noon, so make sure you join us, spread the word, make it part of your weekly routine to stop in and hang out with us. And Rob, welcome. Are you ready for another exciting day of Cue Questions?
I am. I know you've got a couple questions, and hey, I want to thank everybody, man. Last week, on Monday of last week, we had the quarterly training that we gave away for free. We had like 280 people there. It was absolutely amazing. I certainly enjoyed it. All the questions. We do those quarterly trainings, but we kind of gave that one back. We gave away some sync credits to some people that helped me with some things. We also had a couple trivia questions. Those were pretty good. But I know you've got a couple of questions that came out, that came to you, and I'm interested. So let's roll.
Yeah, man. I got this one that was sent to me by our friend Fred Arcidi. Is there a better way to see the date of when an exhibit was admitted than to go to F4?
Dude, this is a good one. This is great. Let me tell you why, Gene, because I'm glad. Who'd you say it was? Fred Arcidi. Fred, thank you for this question. I appreciate it. So last week, I was at the DOJ. That's why we were not live last week and we did the objection report show. I was in DC and someone asked that very question. And I said, well, you could do an F4 and run properties, or you can run an exhibit list and get the dates and times of when everything was admitted. However, as I was doing that, Max Bow, who is the head of our training department, he sat there and looked at me and said, hey, man, why don't you do this? Why don't you just go over and hover? And I said, what? He said, go hover and look at this. If you hover over the top of one of these exhibits like this, if you just hover over the top of it, what it will do is it will give you, well, this one's obviously not going to do it for whatever reason. But if you hover over the top, what it'll do is it'll give you there it is. And I'm going to tell you why it did that a little slow for me here in just a minute. But you could see D4 769, there's the name on it, admitted May 13th at 12:06 p.m. You can click on the one up here. As soon as you click on it, just kind of hover over it. And of course, on your machine, it's going to come up instantly. On mine, it's not, because we're actually in a networking environment right now, which is kind of crazy. But that's what's going on with that thing. So you could just hover over it and it'll tell you the day it was admitted and the time. And so I didn't know that. I found that out in the middle of a training in DC. So thank you to Max for knowing that that was there. So that's how you would do it. Just hover over it. It'll give you what you need to know.
And that just goes to show the learning never stops. There's always new little features that even someone like Rob, who spends all this time in OnCue, you're still finding new little fun facts each and every day that OnCue does for you. And another question that came in, does OnCue work on two machines in different cities? That was asked by our friend TD Steele.
So that's another good one, because I wish I would have known that question ahead of time. Go ahead and throw me up live on the screen right here. So we are working on right now, and the reason that was so long, that it took so long to hover and show that up for me, was because we're in a networking environment right now. We're in the middle of testing some stuff that's really cool. And if you look right here, there's two people in this database right now. There's myself and one of my partners, Christian Gregory. We're working together on this to kind of see how it works. And as you can see, everything is running fine on my machine. I'm able to pull up documents pretty quickly. I'm able to get those up to the viewer window pretty quickly. But one of the cool things about working in a network in two different cities, it can be done. And that's what we're working on. And we're working on a way to streamline and make this process easier and to make it better. But let me give you an example. For instance, D2, Christian's able to hear the show, and so he's on with us. But D2 right here. So this is D2, page number 1. What Christian's going to do is he's going to make on his end, he's going to make an annotation to D2 and he's going to save it. And what's going to happen on my end, I'm not touching anything right here. I'm just sitting here waiting for the database to work. And what will happen is Christian will make the change on his end, and then automatically it's going to show up on my end. Now, there it is right there. Look, there it came. So there's D2.1. Boom. There's what he did right there. You see that? So that automatically happened, Gene, from him. And he's in Pennsylvania and I'm in Dallas. So it's not a long process. It really is working pretty well right now, but we want to be able to streamline the process a little bit going into collaboration. And that's something that I'm really working heavy on. So that question came at just the right time. And before we go back, let me ask you to do something else, Christian. Go ahead and mark D7. This is the OnCue guide. Go ahead and mark D7 as admitted. So what's going to happen is on his end, he's going to mark it as admitted. And then on my end, I'm going to get that. Boom. There it is. You see that, Gene?
Yeah. And then see in the bottom left corner where it shows you Christian made changes.
That Christian made the changes. That's exactly right. So of course there's no background task going, but when I pull this up, I can see when he made the change. So 19 seconds ago, he made the change. This is nowhere near ready for prime time. This isn't something we're advertising how we're doing it or anything like that. But it is something that gives us the ability to begin to go down that road of collaboration. And it's something that I want to use in training first and then migrate it out. So this is not something we're guaranteeing, something that's going to be on the next release, anything like that. This is just something internal that we're doing. So to answer the question, it can be done. And it just depends on how you do it or how you set it up.
That's some exciting stuff there, Rob. Hey, we got a question from YouTube here. Jason asked, what is the shortcut for admitting exhibits?
So right now you don't have, go ahead and throw me up, Gene. Right now you don't have a shortcut for admitting exhibits. It's a simple right click on the document, mark as admitted. But one thing that you can do, and I'm not sure when I do this, is when you go into your preferences, go to your hotkeys, and you can look and see if there is a mark as admitted area right here for a hotkey, and there is. So what I would do is I would just simply double click into my hotkey and I would create my own. So I'm going to do, for instance, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do, well, I can't do that. Let's do Control R. So I'll do Control R, hit Save Changes. That'll be my new hotkey for that. And now what I'll do is highlight right here. I'll hit Control R, and that will mark it as admitted. And so you can set up your own hotkey and do it that way. That would be the easiest way to do that. Thank you for that question. That was great. Next one.
All right. Well, so this has been sent in, and I know I've heard some talk about it. There's been some rumblings of it. What exactly is the OnCue community?
Okay, so this came. We talked about this during the quarterly 2 training last week. People were commenting. There were 280 people in there, and everybody wanted to have a group like the old Trial Technology and Legal Tech Forum that Terry Thornton and I started back in 2001. We wanted a community, a place where people could get together and talk about OnCue. And so what those people did on their own, and I loved it, is they created their own LinkedIn group. And they started inviting people to this LinkedIn, and, we can talk amongst users. We can trade business back and forth. The funny part of that was all the while of them doing that, we had already been working on a message board forum that we could use for our advanced users. And now that's kind of going to grow into what we're doing. So I know you have a couple of screenshots that I had sent to you. I'll remove that. There we go. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. It's going to give you the ability to go in and you can post a new topic. You're going to have categories that you can look under. We've got categories for hot seating, OnCue, help wanted. So if you're looking for somebody to cover a trial for you, we're going to have different categories in there. And basically, when you do messages, they look like this. Like we have a topic called Introduce Yourself. Here's one. I introduced, there's Max right there. And then you'll be able to reply to those messages. And so it's just going to be a message forum. Not ready for release yet. We're getting really, really close to having it done and then getting people to come in and use that. And we hope that it's a source for people to be able to talk amongst themselves and do things like that. And so, hey, Jason, yeah, do that. Set your own hotkey. It can be whatever hotkey too that you want it to be. But that's what the community is. It's going to be just kind of a message board directed to OnCue users where they can go in and talk, and you don't necessarily have to be on a social media platform. Like I'm not on LinkedIn, so I know we OnCue are. I'm not. So, that's kind of how that goes from there.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I've heard, a lot of people, like say, have shown interest, and so it's something on the OnCue side of things that'll be able to be a community where everyone can communicate. Let's see, we got another message coming in on YouTube here from Alicia. Hi, guys. Is there a way to change the name and colors and the designation highlighter feature as a default for all cases going forward instead of editing for each case?
That is my friend in San Diego. No, Alicia, at this point, there's not. And I think it's a great idea, and I think it would be something that would be a good feature to be able to apply to all going forward. And of course, what she means is when you're in your highlighter colors, you go in and set your DES colors, and you say, okay, number 1 is plaintiff, 2 is defendant, 3 is this. If you create a new case, you're going to have to go redo all of that.
Right.
Because there's no easy way. Now, I kind of wondered if you could, well, I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole live, but yeah, I mean, there's kind of, I'm thinking, well, could you do this? But I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole. At this point, there's not. I hope that that's something that we can do. And trust me, the developers and all of us on the development team watch the show. So they hear from you, they see you. So that's a great idea, though. She really does have a good idea. Looks like we are at 12:12, man. This was going to be a short show, and I intended for it to be, and I'm thankful for it. I don't know what we're going to do next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. You're welcome, Alicia. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for being a fan of OnCue since the beginning. I don't know what we're doing next week. If anybody has any topic ideas for next week, make sure you send them to us, because I'll be glad to talk about it. We're probably going to delve into more of this networking thing too, working together collaboratively, because I'm really liking this. And trust me, we're hitting roadblocks left and right. And so, that kind of makes it a little bit harder. It's certainly not ready for prime time, but we're going to get it there. This is what we do over here. We work on things and how can we make the program easier and the program better for everybody to be able to work together and collaborate. Because of course you can collaborate, Gene, with XML files, sending them back and forth, and text files and all those kind of things. But man, real-time collaboration, man, that's something. There's something to be said for that. And so, but we have a lot of testing left to do.
Yeah,
before we
I just want
that.
to say, like, for all the people watching this, live and afterwards, I'm still kind of new to the company, so this has been something really cool that I've got to take part in, is watching these sort of things come together as someone has an idea and says, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could connect computers and share information and work in the same file?" And somebody goes, "Yeah, it would be." Well, how can we make that happen? To see all these things come together like they do, man, it's really interesting. And these guys work tirelessly for days and hours and hours and days to make sure that when this thing does go live and you get it in your hands, it's functioning as it should be. And so it's just really cool. I know you guys put a lot of time into this, and this show, like Rob said a moment ago, is a great forum for you to ask questions and give your ideas, and they do kind of go right before the developers for those to be in consideration.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. There's a good question. Are there
All
any
right.
technical problems running OnCue on the Mac? I assume in Parallels. Jason, I am in Parallels, and I try to run in coherence mode. That way, OnCue is really the only thing. There's little quirky nuances that I have. I will tell you two things. One, I would never use a Mac in court. Personally, I know a lot of people who do, and they're good at it. I'm not all the way there yet. Number two, it's just quirky little differences, right? Do you do it on the Mac side? Where do you install this? Should you install on the Mac side and then use in Parallels? Sharing the desktops, those kind of things. But yeah, it's all done in Parallels. Works great. Works great for me. But I have an M5 chip, so I've got a newer Mac, so that makes it run pretty good. It definitely runs good for the auto sync, I'll tell you that. So I'm happy with that. All right, Gene. Well, if there's nobody else has any questions, it doesn't look like anybody's coming on the show today. And so I do want to thank my partner in crime, Christian, up there in Pennsylvania. He always, no problem, Jason. He always is on here and helps us out with stuff. And he's on the OnCue team, and he does a lot of work helping us out. He does a lot of work helping us out with this testing. So thank you all for being here. Cue Questions is live every Wednesday. We will be getting close to getting that community link out, getting that done, and maybe even being able to train how to connect to a database like we just did.
Absolutely. Well, folks, thank you for joining us. And in the meantime and in between time of next Wednesday's Cue Questions, we hope you have an awesome Memorial Day holiday. And join us again next week live at noon for more Cue Questions right here on the OnCue Tech YouTube channel.